So, I know you guys don't want to hear it, but I think it's safe to say that Scream 7, with, the Carpenter sisters and the Core 4 coming back, I don't think that's gonna happen. You notice most of the actresses, Melissa, um, Jasmine Savoy Brown, especially her, they speak in past tense, right? Like, but putting it behind them, like, oh, we made history with Scream 5 and 6. It was dope doing that, and now it's time to move on. That's kind of how they've been sounding, so. And now I'm hearing about how now they're really trying to get Neff back, obviously give her the pay that she's owed. But my thing is, what will the story be about? What will the story be about? Because now people gotta realize when you make Scream 7 at this point, if they bring Sidney back, you got uh Mark Kincaid, Gail, Kirby, maybe. I hope so. I hope Hayden. Then again, Hayden has said that she thought it sucked. So who knows? Kirby, it's a small maybe with her. But the thing is, if you bring the four of them back, you have to explain what happened to Sam and Tara, the core four and all that. Mindy and Chad. You have to explain why they're not in there. And I hope it's for a good reason. I would have to assume that, after 6, they went somewhere safe, the 4 of them, and now only the 4 of them know where they are at. They didn't tell any family member, no close friend or anything like that, and I can see that happening. But the thing is, if we had everybody involved for Scream 7, I think they could tell the story a lot more easier, and it wouldn't be as hard for them as it is right now trying to put a story together. And that's kind of what we've been hearing, right? It's like they're trying to, we're trying to find a new director. That tells me right then that the script is probably just full of crazy stuff. Like, the script is not secure at all. And I said in my last video, the only way I can see Scream 7 even making sense is if there's a Ghostface out there that feels like, okay, I'm not gonna go after Sam. I'm not gonna go after Gail, Kirby, or Mark. But if I kill Sidney, maybe the killings will stop. Maybe officially it will stop. If I kill Sidney, then no one will have a reason to dress up as Ghostface anymore. Now, obviously, that would be a crazy, motive. Obviously, in the end, it's not going to work. But it's a motive that makes sense, right? They're not as evil when they start, but then eventually, the whole thing of, you put on the mask, you don the mask, you have the knife, and then eventually, as they keep killing, they start to go kind of crazy. It's like, wow, I'm doing all this to get to Sidney, and now I'm going crazy, right? That could be a pretty, interesting part in the story, right? And obviously, that sounds like one Ghostface. Personally, I do like the whole 2 thing. I just think that's like really dope, having 2 killers and all that. And that's the only way I can see it making sense. One thing that won't make sense to me is if they bring back Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher just to kind of, save the movie in a sense, right? Whereas, like, they know they're getting a lot of bad press, really, in between Scream 6 and 7. People are hating Spyglass and Paramount and all that. So they bring back Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher out of desperation, where they feel like they'll bring him back only for people to, like, stop talking about how they fired Melissa. So and obviously, to me, I feel like he was dead anyway. Don't bring back Stu Macher. I know people who are watching this, you want him back. At this point, it would seem more desperate than anything. We don't need him coming back. So I guess the top 4, what people are saying is Kirby, Mark, Sidney, and Gale. And honestly, it, if they do that, it has to make sense. At this point, I think a reboot will probably help it better. And when I say reboot, almost like a soft reboot, right? Where it's a whole new cast, a crazy new motive we never heard of before, but it still takes place in the Scream universe. There'll still be, like, a reference to Sam and Sidney. That's the only way I can see it making sense. Them bringing back Nev, I feel like at this point, Spyglass is trying to do that just to kind of have people, love them again. But the truth is, when it comes to Scream, I don't think they're ever going to get that kind of love back. When we're talking about Scream, years from now, people will be like, hey, man, remember when we could have gotten to Scream this or Scream that? Or we could have had this happen? And then there's always going to be that one person that will say, yeah, but then Spyglass messed it all up. No one is going to say Melissa messed it up. No one's going to say Jenna messed it up. No one's going to say Nev messed it up. They're going to say Spyglass. So now I'm curious as to how they're going to pull this off with Scream 7. Even if that happens. Now, honestly, I kind of hope it doesn't. We keep hearing about, they're trying to get a new director, trying to put together a script, and it seems like they're kind of like trying to rush something out there. And that sucks because we all know there is going to be a new Scream movie, regardless of how people feel. Scream 6 made the most money. It was the most successful. So they're going to make a new one, whether we like it or not. At this point, I would rather them just not do it. So that's the only unfortunate thing. Then again, that's just my thoughts, honestly. Just have a new cast, a new story, new characters, but in the same universe that we already know of. In the same universe as Sam and Sidney. Other than that, I'm going to pass on to you guys. What do you think they should do at this point? Now, I'm saying this as in Melissa's not coming back. The core four, all that, is not coming back, and that they mainly want Mark, Sidney, Gale, and Kirby for this next story, with maybe a few additional characters and all that. What do you guys think they should do? And if you guys do want a Scream 7 like that, with bringing just mainly the OGs back, how do you want this Ghostface to be? I think one Ghostface trying to just end it, trying to end it all by killing Sidney's the way to go. I don't want another Ghostface that's pretty much like, a Mickey or a Roman in a way, where it's like, oh, I came back after all these years. We really don't need that. We don't need that to end the series, right? So you guys let me know how it should be.